Thank you. Thank you. I was just talking to all my other panelists, what should we talk about? Because so we decided that we will not talk about data centers. No more data centers. I think there's some more sessions on data centers, I believe, Julie, right? Later on. So let's not talk about data centers anymore, right? I think we got an overdose of data center. It's fast becoming the RAM data center forum, you know. But now, jokes aside, it is a very important topic, right? I was just kidding. So I think the topic here is very interesting, right? Transformation technology, and what is that? And obviously, data center is obviously one of them. And nobody is going to walk away without talking about AI, specifically generative AI, which is fast becoming sometimes a challenge, but there are a lot of opportunities for many people. And how does Malaysia really embrace it, right? And then AI brings a lot of transformation. Data centers actually, booming. Also, one of the reasons is the AI empowering all the new chips, new requirements, and EVs. Maybe we'll talk about EVs, ladies and gentlemen, right? More exciting, more fun, all right? Electric vehicles, right? And how can Malaysia harness the vast, potential of investment in all these transformation technologies? I think our discussion will be delved on the strategies that position Malaysia as a leader, right? And how does Malaysia compete globally, right? Maybe not only Malaysia, maybe as we spoke hear from the other speakers, maybe with Singapore, right? Or maybe for bigger ASEAN, right? And that's very interesting, right? And how do we balance, right? And promote Malaysian national interests at the same time, right? Ensuring that these advancements benefit the general Malaysian as well. We spoke about that, right? The nasi lemak seller here benefit nothing from some of this new technology, right? So there's a digital gap leakage, and then there are a lot of people that's falling through the gap. So that's something maybe we want to discuss, right? Now, so maybe we start with ladies first. All right, ladies first, right? So Rosita, right? I think we chat a little bit, right? So we are from MIDA, right? MIDA collaborate closely, right, with investors to uncover the potential investment prospect and also ensure a smooth process of investment in Malaysia. Now, let's talk a bit different, not the technology, right? Now with this global trend of AI, what is Malaysia investment policies and initiative to remain competitive, right, in this landscape? Remain competitive is probably the key. And when we hear from this morning, right, it's not about incentive. It's probably not about being cheap. So what makes Malaysia different from your perspective?
Okay, thank you. Okay, as you are aware that MIDA is actually a sister agency of MITI, where is actually our key function is attracting investment into the country, various sector, not only specific for digital investment. But talking about the growth of economy requirement and how Malaysia to become competitive and also resilient towards the global and attractive investment into the country. So if we are launching MITI MIDA is involved in the National Industrial Master Plan 2030. Under that master plan, we are there's the various strategy and strategic planning to restructure the manufacturing sectors, including its ecosystem, towards adopting of new technology and actually to be more competitive in terms of market and also globally. Under this NNIP 2030 is actually mission-based strategy, where they are aligned on 4 missions. In one of it is advanced economic complexity, where actually to nurture innovation in the industry as well as to produce the high complexity products and to increase the competitiveness in the global market. Besides that, under the mission 2, okay, there's a really relate to the digital, where it's actually take up a digital vibrant, where under this mission, we are targeting to actually to encourage the industry to adopt the technology, the advanced technology, towards do the innovation and also improve the processes, and then to improve the productivity and also efficiency as well. So under the this mission too also is actually correlated with our national 4R policy, where actually under that in that category also we would like to come out with the 300 smart factory and also encourage using the advanced technology, some sort like robotic and automation, AI, as well as the cloud computing in the processes. Okay, and then under that, that plan also, the government committed to nurture the high growth, some sort like the high value industry and also innovation driven, such as the industry of aerospace, electrical, electronic, pharmaceuticals, the medical devices, that where we would like to make Malaysia as the hub to cater of this kind of industry. We also, identify 4 growth sector, including electric vehicles, advanced materials, renewable energy, and CCUS. Okay, thank you.
So it's very, very broad-based framework for MIDA to actually do that, right? So, so maybe a follow-up question on this. So what will be, out of the 4 pillars that you spoke about, what will be the key for Malaysia in the next 3 years?
Okay, of course, the key is the mission 2, meaning say, because the digital investment equal to that, we are and Malaysia launching the My Digital Blueprint, okay, where we are targeting the digital investment by 2025, reaching about ringgit Malaysia 130 billion. Why? But we are surplus it already by 2020, first half of 2024.
2024. Wow, that's interesting. Now, maybe very quickly to zooming, right? MDAC maybe more towards the business side, right? The business side, right? How can we, actually, enable Malaysia business, including the people to participate or even lead, right, in this global digital revolution, if I might say, right? And participate in this digital economy. SME obviously is the backbone of many companies, right? And we all know that SME is probably the least supported segment in many parts of the world, not including Malaysia, everywhere, right? So, what is your view, right? How are these, what's some of those key things or investment, right? That Malaysia or maybe the MDAC, right? Can do to support this transformation technology, specifically AI, right? AI, generative AI, in the adoption of this in the SME.
SME is a difficult situation. So basically, if you look at SME, right, especially those SMEs who are not in the digital industry, so they are making wood products, plastic products, metal products. They don't have the information technology know-how to actually adopt. So actually they need a lot of assistance to open their eyes of what they can do. But the thing is, technology costs money and it needs expertise. And a lot of SMEs, if you are not, let's say in the medium and large, towards the medium and large size, you might not even have IT people in your team. So you need a third party to provide you with that expertise. I think that's what the gap is with a lot of SMEs. They may not have the kind of money. They're not going to be able to engage the Accentures of the world to help them transform their business.
Even I cannot assess Accenture. Too expensive. No Accenture people here, right? No hard feelings. I hope. Okay, good.
Okay, so I see there's a gap in the market of companies that address this missing link, I would say. The companies that provide knowledge and support services to non-technical SMEs to help them bridge that gap between what the business is now and what they can be if they have some transformation in terms of digital adoption. So we have seen in the past programs to get the company to just have a website. So that has not worked because what will happen is they'll set up a website. But setting up a website is just step one. You need to have the website to be able to generate revenue for you. Just having your phone number, contact email, right, it's not going to do anything. You need to have products for sale or services for sale in the marketplace. And most importantly, you need to drive traffic to your website. Okay? You need to know how to do search engine optimization so that your company pops up in the top 10 Google search or whatever search. And that is the gap in know-how that SMEs need to bridge. And I think there's a huge opportunity for companies out there who can enter the market and handle that part of the missing link, let's say, helping these non-technical companies make that technical jump.
Now, obviously it's a very broad topic, right, Ziming? If Nosita or Sam, you want to add in as well. So AI can be very scary, actually, right? I mean, but AI is not ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is probably a little bit more, if I may, and a bit of extended search engine, a little bit more of consolidation of data in a different way, more human-like interaction rather than information download, right? I mean, generative AI is going to be very key, right? So I don't know how many of the people in the SME or how many people in the general public understood what it is all about. So how do you I mean, it's a follow-up question on AI. So what can Malaysia, or at least the government or agencies like MDAC or even MCMC do, right? Even MIDA, right? To support that, maybe let me throw the questions to you, Sam, right? So on a workforce perspective, on the infrastructure perspective, right? How do we do to support this demand of change, right? Yeah.
Sure. So perhaps many of you may not realize that basically AI has been there since 1965, but it's always been very, very far away. Supercomputers locked behind, research and development, and we've heard this whole morning that compute power is coming closer to us. Data center is one of the example. Before, because there was no DC before in Malaysia, the compute was very, very far away. Those that use iPhone 16 or iPhone Samsung 24, S24, you have AI in your phone now. So AI is also in your phone with you. So that's where the evolution is going. The capability is no longer very, very far away. The capability is actually very close to you. So we've also heard this whole morning about opportunities. And MCMC is not in the game of opportunity. We are a commission. We have to protect user confidence on three main areas. Number one is Communication and Multimedia Act, which is all about telecoms and internet. Number two is Postal and Services Act, which is all about opportunities behind courier and last mile and letters, even postal. And number three is digital signature. Why I'm telling you all this is because there are some people out there who are the opportunists. They follow where the money goes. But there's many people in Malaysia who are not opportunists. They are in the laggard space. So MCMC's role is to make sure no one is left behind. So therefore, things like connectivity, things like understanding AI, network of touch point. For example, under MCMC, we have this thing called NADI, or used to be called PEDI. These are internet centers, 1,000 of them located nationwide, especially in rural areas, and it's designed for the lowest denominator to come and learn all that we've been talking about. 20 years ago, it's all about having connectivity. These days, it's about how do I survive not being scammed online. So, and that's what we have to do, MCMC. MCMC has to actually bring up syllabus into schools, syllabus into these internet centers for those that face the digital divide. And I think over lunch, I heard somebody was saying that, I think it was you, that said that your mom and dad actually face issues when it comes to using the most latest things. Yeah. So they got to learn somewhere on how do I not get left behind. So that's what MCMC does. And we got to kind of like, you don't want to run fast and run alone, but you got to run far. So you got to bring everybody along that journey. So AI and many other technologies of the future, I would see it's going to be coming as into your phones or into future tools like wearables. And DC is powering them, yes, because like I said in the past, 1965, the DC was in somebody's university research and development lab.
Yeah, we cannot avoid by talking, not talking about really disease, right? To be honest, right? So on that question, right? I was the one who triggered Wyman the clarification. I say, hey, DC really create jobs, are you sure now? So it got him a little bit. Oh yeah, it does. So follow-up question for you. So does AI create jobs? In your opinion, and how can it create jobs?
Yeah, so this is where it's getting more exciting, because the traditional IT and telecom space has always been in the realm of you need high skills, you need specific skills. But AI in one domain, we see those that are outside the traditional skills. I'll give you an example. Those that graduate with a psychology degree, philosophy degrees are now into producing AI materials and use AI for many things. So it has somewhat leveled up the playing field. But where I feel that may not create an opportunity is when those individuals don't have the mindset to change. They're still, wanting to do the things the same way every time. And we all know about what Einstein said. If you do things the same way and expecting different results, you must be an idiot. So therefore, it's about bringing that mindset of how do we use all these new tools that were not there perhaps 18 months ago, and it's now there. So that mindset needs to be instilled early on. So the economy of digital transformation, which means that are we supposed to serve our customers, our citizens the same way last year and this year? Can we serve them differently next year? That mindset of how do we better serve citizens? How do we better serve customers? That mindset needs to be there, and that's part of why we should capitalize on the latest tools possible, because the opportunity is much more today than versus the times of our forefathers.
On this, maybe questions for Nozida, right? So, being government, I assume you do a little bit more. Let me share Singapore as well. Singapore actually has a structural unemployment, right? Not because it has moved sometimes, I think, a bit too fast for the many commoners, too fast, right? And even in a society like Singapore, not everybody knows all this about AI, generative AI, and in fact, there's still a lot of skepticism about EVs. What are really EVs? Is it really, the way to go, and stuff like that, So is Malaysia, I assume Malaysia will face this very soon with all this influx of foreign investment, right? So I think there's two parts of this question here. First is, how do we ensure that this foreign investment also participate in embracing the common people, right? To make sure that this new technology will not, actually, cause the same challenge, actually very, not only in Singapore, many advanced industry economy, a structural unemployment. What do you think we should be doing, separately, different from just foreign investment, come, look at all the billions that was flashed today, How do we balance that?
Okay, that's a very good question. Yeah, okay. Normally, when we do the investment to attract investment into the country, our narrative normally is actually we are promoting the Malaysia as the ecosystem approach. So what ecosystem is actually including the infrastructure and also as well as the manpower. So as the principle of investment agency, in MIDA itself, we are very sensitive about when we are talking about talent. Okay, yeah. Our talent is still marketable. It's one of the key points why investors look into our country. But beside that, of course, there's some sort like the voice from the industry saying that the manpower is not enough and pinching one another company pinching out. But before that, MIDA taking a lead where we have established division in MIDA called talent division is actually become a bridge between the supplier, which is the technical institute, university, with the industry to fill up the gap. How we can make the gap smaller to match with the supply with the demand. Okay, various program was implemented in MIDA, including the career fair, and recently we are signing MOU with the Ministry of Higher Education, again to bridge the gaps. When we bring the industry requirement into the table and discuss together with the Ministry of Higher Education, where they are drafting their some sort of module, everything will tailor to the industry needs.
Okay, interesting. Separately, similar, that brings us to a different topic, but a thing about data sovereignty. Right? Big topic again, right? Data is gold, all right? So while we in Malaysia embrace foreign talent, foreign investment, what measures should Malaysia take to ensure that this data sovereignty is preserved while fostering an open or innovative ecosystem?
That's a huge topic. So before I start, I think let's put out some definitions here first.
Okay.
So data sovereignty, traditionally when people mention the word data sovereignty, it's about protecting your data by keeping it in country. Okay. So a lot of countries have laws and regulations about having the data within country and restricting the amount of the type of data that can go outside. So I think in most advanced countries, you will find that that policy is typically only restricted to government data, but private sector is free to do what it likes. Although there are some countries that actually impose restrictions on private sector as well. And so that's the traditional way of looking at data sovereignty. The sense that you can only protect it if it's within your borders. Okay. Along comes the cloud. Okay. The cloud is a multinational infrastructure. It spans the globe. Now, for government to use the cloud, you need to realize that some of the data may end up in some other country. Okay. Now, the key now here is having an understanding that sovereignty in the digital or cloud, post-cloud world is now a digital sovereignty. Okay, which means that you maintain sovereignty over the data regardless of the physical location of the data. Okay, but there's a catch there. So if you are country A and your data is in country B, how would you get a guarantee from the government of country B that they're not going to spy on your data or seize it? Okay, so this is the big question that a lot of countries are thinking of right now. So for example, when Malaysian government implemented the cloud first policy back in 2021, we basically engaged, government basically signed a contract with 4 cloud service providers, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and TM. Okay. Now with TM is not a big problem. TM's data center is in Malaysia. But Amazon, Microsoft, Google at the time, the only data centers they had the closest ones was Singapore, which would mean Malaysian government data will now end up in Singapore. Okay. There is no agreement between Malaysia and Singapore right now on treatment of Malaysian data in Singapore, and neither the other way around either. Okay. So the question now is, what is it countries need to do in order to create trust between each other? We are ASEAN neighbors, we should trust each other at least to a certain extent, right? So what we are looking at is actually a framework of in a way, governance to ensure that countries respect the sovereignty of the data of the neighboring countries. Okay, so we are calling, basically we have submitted a project at ASEAN level. This is called the ASEAN Cross-Border Cloud Computing Framework. And we had actually collaboration with the Singapore government, IMDA, PDPC, to basically submit this project. And it's a work in progress. We have a draft ready for a Malaysia-Singapore draft, because we realize that implementing an ASEAN-wide thing is going to take a longer time. So we're doing a low-hanging fruit first. Let's just do a Malaysia-Singapore one, and let's see how it goes. And this will be a framework for potentially a bilateral agreement between Malaysia and Singapore for the protection of data in each other's countries. So I think that's a short version. I can go on a lot longer, but I don't think we have the time for that.
Well, actually, we have time. You want to talk about it? No. Anyway, Sam, you have a view on this, on the same topic, because I think this topic is a very key fundamental of a lot of this kind of transformation technology, right? Because this is not something we discussed, because I was reading, because many of you actually knows what happened a couple of weeks ago when some pager actually explode, right? You all know that, right? Know that, right? So there's now a little bit of skepticism, beyond data, right? Equipment sovereignty is also now being sort of, where is it manufactured? Who uses it? So it's a very fast-changing landscape apart from data sovereignty. So do you think equipments, right, needs to start thinking about having a label, a label that is safe for use, and it may be a bit of a sensitive topic here, because I think for example the Arab world is now very, very worried about some Western technology, right? So there's the influx of Chinese technology, actually. So will this transformation technology make sense to land in Malaysia and create a brand new IP for a different world?
Yeah, good point, because in terms of consumer equipment, consumer devices, in Malaysia, we do have a few existing methods where the equipments that we use, or the ones that we can buy, should be certified. And you guys may know about the agency called CILIM, which basically has a kind of a type approval for equipments that are being brought in. It could be an upstream equipment for DC, could be a commercial consumer equipment like what you can buy for your homes. And as a matter of fact, if you perhaps look at your own phones and you go to the About and certification, you will see MCMC logo there. If it's not there, it means that that phone was brought in illegally on the site. And there's a reason why many equipments out there are brought in what we call underwater. They are not certified, because sometimes the certification process takes a bit longer. That's number one. Number two, most people who sell communication or some sort of equipment, they do not know that those equipment have certain capabilities. For example, your vacuum cleaner in the past was just a vacuum cleaner. Today, your vacuum cleaner has Wi-Fi, it's got CCTV, it's got many other things, and I'm not surprised if we have AI inside in the future. So those vacuum cleaners needs to be certified by a local agency that makes sure that this element that affects consumer and society are well tested on many areas. Many merchants don't know that. So a lot of things that you see on sale on Shopee, Lazada, many of them are not certified, for example. So be careful what you buy. Make sure it says they're certified, because uncertified equipment will bring things that may surprise you. I think 1 year ago, MCMC received a complaint from people that use 5G phones near a karaoke center. Yeah, and the karaoke premise did not know that their microphone, this one, was interfering with 5G phones. So whenever people were singing, nobody could receive phone calls. And of course, the karaoke guy, I mean, it's not his job to understand all this, but he bought the equipment from, online, cheap enough, fast enough. But it turns out that it is not certified because the frequency of the microphone actually interferes with the frequency of transmitting and receiving of certain 5G phones. So that's one example, and the pager example is like what you mentioned is along that line.
It's very interesting, actually.
Yeah,
Jimmy, please.
So yeah, you'll be wondering why Sam mentioned vacuum cleaners, right? So some of you may have heard just last week, there's certain brand of robotic vacuum cleaner got hacked, and then it started running around capturing video of whoever was in the room and sending it to some unknown source, and then shouting profanities and the slurs as it moved around the place. So yes, your vacuum cleaner can get hacked, but then again, vacuum cleaner getting hacked is just one thing. Imagine your Tesla got hacked while you were driving. Think about it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, technology can be very dangerous, right? If it's not embraced carefully, correctly, right? And that's why the key topics now we buy a lot of foreign investment. Money is great, opportunity is great, but are we doing enough to actually authenticate some of those in the investment? Is it really safe for consume? Maybe that's the right word to use, right? It is very interesting. Yeah. A bit of change here. I worked in the sustainability industry. I think Tan Sri spoke about that as well. Maybe a little bit of sustainability because all this investment, AI, EV, maybe we should talk a bit about EV, right? The show of hands now. How many of you own EVs here? EVs, electric vehicle. Oh, don't have. What? Oh, very sustainability. All walk here, cycle here. Amazing audience, right? Okay, what about the three gentlemen here? No EVs. Okay, so solar roof. Okay, follow Tan Sri, yeah, follow Tan Sri. Solar roof. Yeah, but sustainability is going to be a key element, right? AI investment, data center, right? Data center needs a lot of cooling energy. Actually, I don't know how sustainable, how green it is. And we all know that EV. We were just talking about, are the batteries really green? How do you manufacture the battery? It's quite a polluted industry, actually. The beautiful question will come in probably in the 3 years' time when Tesla battery runs out. What do you do with those batteries? So question, how can Malaysia ensure that the benefits of this technology advancement or new investment, right, are balanced with what it calls decarbonization or ESG target 2050? We know that Malaysia has committed net zero 2050. Same question for everybody. Maybe you start from Sam.
So maybe I start on one portion and the rest can take it up. The portion of those vehicles that you mentioned, the EV vehicle, could eventually land up to become an e-waste, like phones. All our phones are eventually going to, eventually after 3 to 4 years, they become e-waste. And there's a whole industry that basically MCMC also supports within Malaysia on e-waste, where the supply chain of breaking down those e-waste into the materials that they are important for, the radioactive ones, the gold and the copper and all that. And I wouldn't be surprised EV vehicle will go down that way as well, because all of us know EVs are like pretty much smartphones on wheels. And so to me, the e-waste ecosystem in Malaysia domestically potentially has an opportunity to uplift, because otherwise they're just playing in the traditional telecom and computer equipment e-waste, and EV is going to be their future customer.
Oh. Any comments from you?
Yeah, okay, to be sustained. Actually, we are also promoting the recycling activity in the country, but it needs to be regulated properly. Where what we are encouraged is actually to recycle the in-house materials, not to bring out outside materials to be recycled in Malaysia. So, but this is that we know that it's early in the beginning when we are promoting this kind of technology industry like EV, and because they are using the battery. Even later on the data center when they are investing in the battery itself to support the energy later on, then the usage of the battery, this will be really huge. And after usage, that's where this battery is really going. So this recycling, this ecosystem need to be established but regulate properly. Okay, in terms of that, not going to be misused.
Sorry.
Okay, two things. One on the data center side.
Ah.
So we need to ensure that the data centers are as energy and water efficient as possible. So that's a given, right? The other thing is that the greening of the power supply, right? The grid. So TNB has a plan. So NETR is there, and I'd like to see NETR go beyond to start seriously thinking about nuclear energy for the future. So, Tan Sri, I really like to see the word nuclear on your slide, so I know you're thinking about it already. Okay, but the thing is on the other aspects of sustainability, like for example, the e-waste, right? Right now, I think we don't have the volume to really have a true circular economy around e-waste and recovery of valuable minerals from the e-waste, right? And I think one of the things that our regulations right now prohibits the importation of e-waste for processing, but I think that could be one opportunity. If Malaysia wants to get into the circular economy, we might need to look at how to implement the policy to enable the importation and proper processing of e-waste. And actually, Malaysia has the opportunity to actually participate strongly in that. And when all these hyperscale data centers need to recycle their equipment, we will have the facilities available to make it happen.
Oh, okay. Very good. Now, very quickly, let's jump into Q&A, right? So I seen no data center, but there's a very big data center question. If you cannot see, can you all see? You know, let's you know, how long does the Malaysian government wants to promote data center investment? Maybe you should answer this question.
Okay, all right. So yeah, looking like from the morning just now that we are listening from our energy supply, Tan Sri, and then also about from our Invest Johor is actually to answer this question is actually as long as the available resources in the country, we still need to promote the data center investment in the country. Plus, the development of the usage of advanced technology, where this will require some sort like AI technology, cloud computing, is we require data center because they need the storage, huge storage and data processing. So this is the demand there where we still need to promote data center in the country, including the e-commerce, e-services that now, and even government also launching about the e-invoicing. So this kind of thing create a huge demand. And in MIDA itself, we have offering the tax incentive for the digital investment infrastructure, where the investment, this incentive will long until 2027. So, and plus our NNIP 2030 also targeting until 2030, where we are looking forward that this thing we still need to be promoted.
Well, I guess there would not be a time frame to some extent, right? Because it's an evolving needs, you know. Now it's AIDC. God knows what is it going to be in the next 3 years when technology advance. You know, maybe space DC. We never know. We never know, right? So my take, if I may have to answer this question, I think as long as it makes sense, because like we hear from Mahathir, we hear from Wyman earlier on, it is a myth that data center does not benefit a lot of workforce. It does. It's a lot of new engineers, a lot of new facilities management, a lot of electrician. There's a lot of work that generated through it. And we were even talking about the building of data centers. You have how many thousands of people for the next few years before all of these are being commissioned. So these are all very relevant in terms of embracing investment in technology that create the well-being of the general people in Malaysia. So I think this is still a very, very important pillar, and actually I think with this SEZ with Singapore, this is going to be a very, very big pillar in the next few years. So I'm not Malaysian government. I don't answer from behalf of Malaysia, but this is how I feel, right? But maybe a follow-up answer, right? A follow-up question, which I find very interesting, right? With the new technologies and increasing rack density, what is the risk of DCS built over the last 2 years becoming obsolete? Sam, maybe you want to take this?
I'm not explaining this, but I would imagine that physically things will just become smaller, more energy efficient, and the end of life cycle will just kick in. So for the same physical footprint, it will just be more efficient, and over time there'll be consolidation.
Okay, Zing?
2 years is fine. I think 2 years is fine because basically, as Wyman mentioned just now, they are building the DCs to handle 130 kilowatts.
Yep.
Right? That's more than enough for the next 5 years. So I think 2 years, not a problem. Maybe beyond 5 years, yeah, but I think I can't imagine anything going far beyond 130 kilowatts because we're looking at the new chips, NVIDIA's Blackwell chips. They're actually more energy efficient than the previous ones. And then there are other companies coming up as well. Based CPUs and GPUs actually consume less energy. And I think the AI hardware world realizes that they need to make the AI less energy hungry.
Yeah.
I think it's moving that direction.
Yeah. No, but I think the challenge, if I may add, is that because, okay, so a little bit of myself, right? I used to be an IBM engineer, right? For some of you who are old enough, IBM was a kingpin. For those who don't know IBM, that's okay, which means you are very young, which is good, right? IBM was a kingpin, right, in the IT, right? And I was an engineer. I commissioned the largest. It's a machine called let's call it a server, right? I forget about mentioning the name. It's called AS400, but it's a server, right? The largest in Asia Pacific. Largest, okay? Memory is 128 meg. That's not very long ago. 128 meg. And I don't think anybody here wants to buy a phone that's 108 meg. Maybe start with 256, 512, right? And that's how technology has advanced. And that machine, my God, is bigger than this screen. So times has changed. And it may be really in next 3-5 years time, right? So it's a very interesting question. I find it very, very relevant. Will all those data centers, all those land and all those, things become, over supply, over leverage, so very interesting. All right. So I hear the thing, which means that we're going to conclude this session. Maybe a very quick 5 minutes. So 5 minutes, we must ask you a parting question. A parting question. So I will not phrase it because I think more or less, on this broad topic about new technologies, how does Malaysia embrace all this new technology? How this new technology will affect workforce, affect business, right? And it should and it must, right? We hear that tomorrow is budget day. right? Maybe one simple question, a light-hearted question. If you see Prime Minister Anwar now, what is your one request for the PM? Maybe Ziving, we'll start with you.
Continue data center investments.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, Dozita.
For my side, it's actually, yeah, it might be, personally, it might be not a specific announcement on the specific industry incentive, but I believe it will go to the how we maintain the supply chain, how we encourage the supply chain, meaning the incentive to make our supply chains become more competitive, not only for nearby country, our neighboring country, but also for the global.
Ah, nice. Sam, your request to Prime Minister, come on, make it count.
So my request would be perhaps to answer one of the big burning questions that all of us been saying this morning is about workforce. And how do we address workforce? How do we retain workforce? So my request would be to tell or to maybe have a discussion with PMX that he should make magic happen. Magic stands for making academia, government, and industry collaborate more.
Wow, nice. I like that magic. All right, we're at the end, right, of the session. I really want to thank my three panelists, for joining me. Right, thank you very much for your perspective. We try to not talk about data center, but we cannot. But I think Malaysia is in a very good position, right, at the moment for us exponential, growth. And I really look forward, to seeing, Malaysia, really, what's the word to say? Malaysia boleh. Malaysia boleh. Okay. Thank you very much.
Right, once again, thank you very much to our esteemed panelists, Jen Samsul, Puan Norzita, Mr. Tan, and Mr. KK Pang. If you like to just slide to the front for photo opportunity, right? While we are talking about, DC.
Thank you.